things that happen in your brain, the kind of structural changes that occur, the kind of chemical changes that occur in your brain is like that of a person who is addicted to a drug, cocaine, or any other thing you can be addicted to. So yes, you watch porn, it has spiritual implications, but physically on your brain, it has implications on your brain. So as time goes on, perhaps I'll have the opportunity to
Yeah, I
explain
think you would
better.
have to clarify more because I'm watching pornography for sexual gratification. I get a release, I'm excited. What is all this on your brain and on your spirituality? So we'll explore that. But my question again, are there any good sides to pornography? Are you saying it's entirely bad, or there are some good aspects of watching pornography?
There are no good sides.
There are no good sides.
No, none at all.
So maybe we can react to that. But then again, you have people who tell you, perhaps let me share my experience briefly. The first time I encountered pornography was in university. I was in first year. I knew about sex. I had read about sex. But then there was a sex video that had leaked. It was around that time, around 2009 area, that these sex videos started leaking. And then I saw one. They were moving like animals. And so I was asking, but why are they behaving this way? And then all my roommates started making fun of me. All I had seen around that time, it wasn't so vivid. When I knew when people are about to have sex, they lie down, they cover themselves with a cloth, and that's sex in my mind. It happens under the sheets. But to see people moving like animals and one bouncing the other, it was all weird. For me, that was the first time I became interested in pornography. So how do people have sex? What is all this about? To satisfy my curiosity. Are you telling me that was bad? Or perhaps I'm a married woman. I want to spice things up a bit. And I want to check. Maybe I've heard there is a woman on top or cowgirl. I don't know how it's done. I Google, it comes up. And then I check it out just to be able to experiment on my husband to spice my sex life. You are saying that's also not good. So you're trying to say there is nothing good at all about watching pornography. Is that it?
Yes, I still stand by my position.
So we'll come to her. She says there can be absolutely nothing good with watching pornography. Let me take your reaction on this and then we'll move to the next round of questions. So, in respect of pornography use, I think for you as a person who has seen people who are addicted trying to recover, what is so bad about pornography? Pornography is usually described as very violent, as not good for our health, causing addiction. Why is that? What is so bad about watching pornography?
Okay, thank you very much. Everything about it, as my sister said, is very, very bad. As you said earlier, when we talk about addiction, addiction really affects your brain. And the brain is a major important factor in your life, in your body. The brain helps you to do everything. It's whatever the brain tells you, that is what you do. And the brain, whatever you do to counteract with whatever thoughts and images you have reading in your brain. I want to just limit it to pornography. With pornography, whatever you see sticks very well in the brain. When it comes to pictorial things, it sticks very well. As Pastor said, you see adverts. They want it to be catchy. That is why they bring that pornographic aspect, because that will push you to even go and do what? Look at it. So from the addiction perspective, we will say that pornographic is very, very, very addictive. From our area of work, from the practical side, we will tell you pornographic is very, very addictive. Because from the DSM-5, they are trying to tell us that pornographic is not addiction, because it doesn't classify. But from the practical perspective, pornographic is what? Addictive. And highly what? Addictive, because of its pictorial nature. It sticks into the brain. And wherever you go, the picture just comes back. There is a flashback. That's how come we picture it as what? Addiction. You'll be working in the office, then the picture just comes, you lose focus. Then you are moved to go again, to go and watch. So you lose focus with your time. You spend so much time on it, making you lose your work. If you are a student, you spend so much time that you forget to learn, and you do what? You fail. And that's what drug does. It takes your time, it takes everything from you, then you lose everything. So we say addiction is what? concentrating on one thing to lose everything, which is what is making you addictive. So if you concentrate on pornography, for you to lose valuable things, important things in your life, then there is a problem. So addiction, pornography, as she said, is bad in any other way. Being it simple or whatever is bad.
Okay. So now maybe let's move a bit into the specifics. At this point, I'm wondering if I'm a young person or I'm married and I dabble in pornography every once in a while, I still don't feel convinced on why I must not use pornography. So then maybe you would want to, Auntie Christine, let me come to you. Could you take us through the process? You said, so I hear it is, so we'll look at the spiritual, the medical, the psychological, the mental,
Sure.
but walk us through the process. When someone consumes pornography for the first time, what exactly happens for you to say it's so bad? So walk us through, I don't know whether you're going to take it from the psychological or mental dimension, but walk us through the process. And how does one move from being a person who just clicked one time, a casual user, to become an addict? Could you help us with that?
Okay, so I'll try to make it brief. First, pornography, just like any other thing people get addicted to. I mean, sometimes it's easy to talk about drugs because it's something something substantial, it's something tangible you are consuming into your body. But what about things that are visual? So we say that addiction occurs through one thing, the release of dopamine in the brain.
Exactly.
Like Auntie said, your brain is like one of is your greatest asset, is the most valuable. Whatever you do comes back to the brain. And how the brain is wired is such that it has chemicals in it that interacts with each other. Just like electricity. We put on the switch here, but then there's power in. Or we put on the switch by the meter, and then the power circulates. So there's current inside. It's the same way we taking things into our body through our senses. Your eyes see, and then there's something going on. Everything that happens around you is your brain. So this is what happens. When you are visually stimulated to an addictive content, you release what we call dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter in the brain that is responsible for reward. So when you are hungry, it tells you to eat so that you survive. We have the need to reproduce, so we survive. It is a chemical in your brain that allows you to thrive so that you survive on Earth. The same way when you see food and every other thing that's supposed to make you survive, you release dopamine. It rewards you for the good thing done. So you watch pornography, dopamine is being released. And like I said, there are connections in your brain, receptors. The more you are releasing more dopamine, you are damaging the dopamine receptors in your brain. It gets to a point, now when you release the dopamine, you're not getting the kind of satisfaction you're supposed to get. That is where you build tolerance. So now you need more. So let's say if it was cocaine, you were sniffing one matchstick. The next for like, let's say 2 weeks, when you take one matchstick, it's not enough. Now you need like 2 or 3. That's dopamine receptors being damaged in your brain. So now you need more to make you feel even normal. I hope I'm not being too technical.
Christine, the dopamine aspect she's talking about, I'm sure somebody will be asking, what is that dopamine thing? But to simplify it, it's like the sense that tells you you're hungry, go and eat. Or you are feeling sleepy, sleep. That thing. So when the person watches porn for the first time, it sticks. So now the dopamine that the thing will create will be telling you, so when are you going to watch it again? So it starts to be part of you. So instead of you living that normal life, the dopamine is letting you be doing what the eyes have seen, the brain had assessed and thinking that, okay, let me add it to my life. So that is the simplifying
So
the
if
dopamine.
I get you from a lay point of view, like dopamine is a feel-good hormone
Yes.
that leaves
It's
you
a
craving for
neurotransmitter.
more.
It's a neurotransmitter,
Okay.
chemical in the brain. So like,
What happens when you start releasing the dopamine and you want more?
yeah,
Let
so
me help
I
you
was
with
saying
dopamine.
that there are 2 ways through which...
Okay, let's
The dopamine aspect, there is, let's say, the brain reward circuits.
Exactly.
It's like communication. I want to talk to Pastor. So I send my sister Christine, tell Pastor A. Christine goes and doesn't come back. Then I ask the moderator, follow up. Then she goes. She also doesn't come back. So we keep on doing what? Sending people without receiving what? Feedback. So when you continue watching porn or in any addictive situation,
Exactly.
you release, let's say, the feeling.
Exactly. Of course.
You always get the feeling, but you are not getting what? Feedback. The feeling doesn't what? Descend. And that is not what? The normal state in which God made us.
Exactly.
When you send an information, you should what? Get a feedback. That is why a normal cocaine user will use cocaine and add heroin. So the cocaine takes you high, the heroin what? Brings you down so that you can calm down.
Yeah.
So the dopamine level what? Always gives you happiness, excitement, like that. That's what we call what? Dopamine.
So at least we
thank
see
you.
an effect on our brain.
Yes.
Yes.
But how does it also affect us now mentally? Now I want you to also let it transcend to how it affects our relationships,
Exactly.
how it affects us spiritually,
Okay.
how it even affects us physically when we consume pornography. So Pastor, let me go to you.
So
and then come.
which aspect do you want me to talk about?
So perhaps you can touch
So-
on
so-
spiritual
so-
and physical
So,
and social.
David was on his rooftop and he was spying his kingdom. And David's eye catches this lady. I don't know their time, how their bath looks like, but according to the scriptures in 2 Samuel chapter 11, it tells us that David saw from afar the woman. That I'm simplifying the aspect of watching so that it creates in us something else. At the end of the day, David followed up to know that type of the woman who was battered, and it was someone's wife. So now I'm watching porn. The first time somebody introduced me to porn, the material is there. I glanced through the material. I told myself I'm not going to watch it again. Then the dopamine aspect, he said, will come in. The last time I watched this thing, and those who watch porn disconnect from God. You just disconnect yourself from God. Any addictive behavior, but we are just emphasizing on pornography, because the more I watch pornography, it is nasty. The guilt aspect, the shame aspect. So when I watch it, nothing tells me to go and pray. Nothing tells me to read the Bible. Nothing tells me to even connect with a sister friend who is in Christ Jesus, or a brother friend who is in Christ Jesus, because I see myself to be away from them. So even if whoever is addicted to porn, that person, he or she shuns family ties. All the time they are secluded, they are somewhere in their corner. So that is even one individual. Then spiritually, what will happen? Even physical, I wouldn't talk to my mom. I will be in my one corner, wouldn't mind any other person. How much more will I take the scriptures to even read after porn? So automatically, whoever watches porn, whether husbands or wife, it disconnects us from God, because that presence has been defiled by the watching of porn.
You want to help us with how it affects us psychologically, and then she can take other aspects as well.
Okay, so before the other one, I was talking about, I was going to talk about two ways through which dopamine is released
Exactly.
in our brain. First, through our senses, and second, through thoughts association. So your senses through your eyes, your nostrils, your taste, your touch, and everything. Dopamine is released to an event that is exciting you. And also thought association. So yes, you've already watched it. So the flashback of it, the images of it, is able to stimulate you to release dopamine for no reason. Also, like I was saying, like a married woman or a man who watches pornography, your expectations are higher.
Sharp.
Yeah, because you see what people do in these movies. They are movies. There are scenes where they are cutting and joining and everything, but you don't know that. You think the man is able to, have sex for like a whole 30 minutes straight, 1 hour. My husband is supposed to do that. Or my wife is supposed to be able to wear this kind of, lingerie? Why is my wife not acting this way? Some of the styles in it, why can't she do that? Okay, so then I must look for a younger girl who can do all those things. So these are some of the things that drags us. Your expectations become high, and then you don't, because your expectation is so high, you are not with your partner. You are not living a real life. Your intimacy is fake. Like, you are so hooked up on fake intimacy that whatever your partner is doing is unattractive to you. Because in your mind, sex is supposed to be with some sort of perfect body. You have an image that is stuck in your mind, and you want just that. So as a married woman and a married man, you will not have, yes, you will see all the cowgirl and all the styles, but you will not enjoy intimacy with your partner because your mind is like you're expecting, and that is how your mind is created. You do not choose to be addicted. You choose the behaviors, but you do not choose to be addicted because the brain is doing its job. The path you have created in the brain is what it will walk on. So you don't choose to be addicted, but you are, and then you end up being unhappy anyway. So,
To you quickly.
Okay, mentally, pornography distorts your perception. It changes your perception from normal to abnormal. Let me use normal to abnormal. Because it gives you the perception that you see your partner as an object. You don't see your partner as a normal human being like you. You see your partner as an object because whatever we see is being acted. So you see the people get there and they start the acting. So you get home and you also see your partner as an object to which you would want to also what? Do the same things with your partner. And you end up what? Harming the person. Or you rape the person. Because the person is not playing to your tune. Whatever your brain is telling you, your partner can do what? Act. Therefore, making you what? Violent. So it makes you what? Violent. Then you abuse your partner, forgetting that whatever you watched was acted. And whatever you watched was not the right thing when it comes to sex. Sex is not being played with what? Objects. Your partner is not an object. But pornography distorts your brain that you see your partner as an object. That's why my sister was saying, any style that you see, you want your partner to also what? Do the same thing, which is not what? Possible. So it distorts your brain and you see your partner as an object. Then you tend to violate the person's right, abuse the person. Then it can end in what? Rape.
I'm glad you have touched on the effects it has on intimate partners who are engaged in intimate relationship and for our purposes, marriage. So you have talked about objectification of your wife, having unrealistic expectations. Some people have too much libido, they are raping their partners and all that. But how about in marriage? I consume the pornography with my husband. So I meet up with him and then I check, okay, we have different types of pornography. There is lovers, there is soft, there is hard. Let's look at the lovers and soft. Let's see, can we spice things up a bit? We are all on the same page. Nobody is doing it to the exclusion of the other. There is no secrecy. There is transparency. Is something wrong with that?
Yes. Yes, in the sense that when you view pornographic for a long time, or even when you view pornography, the excitement it gives you is more different from when you are experiencing it with your partner. You don't get that high. Because pornography in itself was created to arouse your excitement. Was created to arouse your excitement. So it has that click. When you use it, when you watch, you get that excitement. But when you are doing it with your partner, you are not going to achieve the same excitement. That will leave you wanting to try different other people. When you try different other people, you still don't get it. So until you go back to the pornography, you don't get the excitement you are really looking for.
Okay.
So it leaves you with promiscuity. You'll be moving, but not getting excitement, like the same one with drug addicts. They start with one, they are not getting excited again. They add another, they increase doses, and it's still not doing what? Giving them the excitement and the high they are looking for.
So up until this point, we'll play one video. Control room, are we ready? I realize Auntie Christine wants to chip in something. So control room, get ready to show us Nate's video. And then after that, I can open the floor for us to get our initial questions and reactions to the fair set of discussion that we've had. So control room, Nate's video. Auntie Christine.
Okay, so I'd like to say, okay, for couples, I am not married, but I was thinking that when you are married, you are supposed to explore with your husband and get to know everything you will know with your husband. And so bringing in a third party, which is the pornography, for them is like your attention is moved from getting to know your partner for how he performs or what he does to what you expect him to do. Because you're watching and he's expected to play, and he is also thinking he's supposed to. You understand? But whatever they are doing, like I said earlier, let me reiterate that it's a movie. They are directors and they are, content writers and everything. Yes. So whatever they are doing, whatever safety measures they have taken, props and everything, you are not privy to it. So you will be doing it on the blind side. Perhaps there was something they did that they had complications. They won't come back and tell you, we did this style and we had complications. But you don't know. You're also engaging with your husband. So at the end of the day, what you are actually intimate with is the pornography and not your partner, which you are supposed to be intimate with.
Thank you. Control room, are we ready? So let's show Nate's video and then we'll take some reactions from our audience.
Boy, was I wrong. There I am, everybody's best friend, beautiful wife, 3 kids. From the outside, it looked good, except for the secret part that nobody knew about. One that carried, in my mind, no risk. Pornography hooked me deep. I knew I would be back. Whatever risk I would have to take, whatever price I would have to pay, I would be back. Porn took me places I never thought I would go. It groomed me, trained me, set me up. So I'm just driving along and I see this girl. I pull over to offer her a ride and she propositioned me. And suddenly I'm picking up my first prostitute on my way to a Christmas Eve service. I'd been hiding my porn use for a long time and thought I could hide it forever. And then one night, my wife caught me. I vowed again, I promised once again to stop, and I explained and I begged, and she forgave me. But when, a few weeks later, she found that condom on the floor in the bathroom that I couldn't quite explain, she finally said the words that she needed to say and the words that saved my life. She said, "I'm done."
You will come and tell us, for what my husband is doing, I don't like it. And I'll ask you why.
She said, "I still love you, but I don't like you. I don't trust you. I don't respect you. And I don't think you can ever change." That was it for me. That was my wake-up call from fantasy and infidelity. It hurt to hear my wife say she didn't like me anymore. It was as though there was a part of me that died.
The rest did it, but they gave birth. No one knows what happens in the closet of the married man and the married woman. So don't bring the third party porn to teach me or you what and how the style should be like. So in as much as we are married, yes, we are married, but how it will become an abuse in the marriage because When husband wants this style, and the wife thinks that no, it's not the style. When the wife wants this style, now people they tie whatever. They use a tie. They hinge you on the bed. Or a Christian, you haven't seen this thing before because traditionally that's not how we do it. Then your wife comes today. Yesterday we watched something, and what we watched yesterday, I want us to practice today. What the cat one. You guys will start acting. Monfa camera and Simo so then start acting porn. You get it? So it is not so. I think married men and women, we should at our own pace. We always eat rice, jollof rice, but at the point in time, we add fried egg. At the point in time, we add salad. At the point in time, let's spice the thing. It's not about the cat girl, the wheelbarrow, the whatever. It's okay.
So we have youth amongst us. We are not going to leave. You would look at the effects. The person in yellow, number 3, behind you, number 4, you, number 5. So let's take the first 5, and then we'll move to this area. Please come forward and then speak into the microphone. Let's be brief.
All right, so, hello. So thank you very much for the questions and the answers. When it comes to drug abuse, we all know that you can take drugs maybe by smoking, by sniffing it, by injecting it into your body. When it comes to pornography, is it just by way of visualization, by way of sight that we get exposed to pornography, or there are other means of getting exposed to pornography that we are not aware of?
All right.
Can you kindly touch on that for us?
We'll answer the questions after the 5th person. So let's take notes. Are there other ways of watching pornography or getting into touch with pornography? Number 2, let's have you. Number 3, please be approaching.
From what I've gathered so far, it is not right for married couples to watch pornography. So how about the kind
Can we
of
get
program?
somebody to help in the microphone? Yeah, please. Okay, so, I wanted somebody to come and help you with the microphone too. Okay.
Okay, so far, we've been made to understand that watching pornography as married couple is bad. But I want to know about programs like the Duvet or Down Humaso and things like that. They don't show visuals, but then they say things that sometimes it's more like watching them, or you can imagine them. How about those things? You don't see anybody naked, but they can talk about it to the extent that you feel like you are watching it. Is that one too bad?
Thank you. Number 3. Number 4, please approach.
Okay, my question is, must one watch pornography before he can exercise his sexual skills?
Okay.
Number 4.
My question is about the spiritual aspect. I'm not really convinced from what is being said, because I've met people who see nothing wrong with pornography. Such a person will never have shame or guilt after watching it. So can you speak more to it? Because some people will be wanting to know, let's say we meet someone who is not a Christian, who is indulging into it. You are trying to talk the person into Christianity. How do you approach such a person who doesn't feel anything wrong with what they are doing?
Okay, the last person, number 5.
I think mine is just a contribution and a top up to what has just been said. I think our counselors and psychologists mentioned dopamine, but from some of our research that we've done in the past, we know that dopamine is not just the only chemical. We know there's testosterone that is being released during the process. Oxytocin is also released. And oxytocin is, the kind of chemical that is released between the mother and the child, or when you get married to your husband, what bonds the two of you? What makes you feel that kind of love between the two of you? The chemical that's released is oxytocin.
Okay.
So at the same time too, when somebody watches pornography, you're also getting that kind of chemicals being released, making you bond to
Exactly.
the pornography than bonding to your partner. So that's something also you need to note, because if you are having all these influx of chemicals being released at the same time when this is going on, I think that the kind of damage it brings is more than we can ever imagine. And I just want to also add to the fact that as we pay attention to the topic on pornography, the way we see drug abuse as very serious, I think that the church doesn't see pornography as that serious as drug abuse. Yeah. But if your child is addicted to pornography, you should be really, really concerned, because it's that serious.
Thank you.
So I think I'll add that, and then maybe later on I'll also come up with a bit of my top up as well. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. So let's address the 4. Do we only get pornography through visuals? Is it just through visuals, or there are other means of consuming pornography?
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that there are 2 ways for dopamine release in the brain, or to simplify it, that's why I keep mentioning dopamine, because dopamine is like the predominant one. There are other ones, endorphins to soothe you, like he mentioned, oxytocins, and all these things are released into your brain. But like the most, I talk about dopamine because it's a rewarding one, yeah. So I mentioned earlier that dopamine is released through your senses and thoughts association. Okay, so your senses, we all know where our senses are: visual, your smell, your tasting, your touch, and other things. Yes, so even things you hear can stimulate you and cause a release of dopamine.
So then are the other question where if you listen to these very explicit sexual programs that causes so much arousal and makes you even visualize it, is that also pornography? Okay.
So I would say that is pornography in a way, because I talked about hearing stuff like the hearing and watching some of these things. It gives you an idea of things to do. So I think there's a reason for which these programs are shown very late at night. Although I believe there's some educational aspect of it, but it's we all agree that it's for adults and married couples. That's why it's shown at night. But it's different from pornography itself and pornography addiction, as we are talking about. So these programs, when you watch them, do you crave to continue to watch them? Are they causing problems in your life, yet you're not able to stop watching them? Do you spend resources and time to watch them? Do you have control over watching these programs? You don't, not many people feel like, oh, I'm waiting for Don Homer, so like because they want to masturbate to it. But pornography, we are talking about like explicit video materials that shows naked people having sex for no reason at all. In fact, 2 strangers having sex for no reason. And it excites you, and you keep going back, putting resources, money, and time. It's distracting you, making you isolate yourself. It's affecting your intimate life, your relationship with human beings. That is when I feel it's a problem. But for TV programs, I feel like they have their advantages, although they have their disadvantages also.
Okay, so there was a question also on, do you need to watch pornography to be able to exercise your sexual skills or to be able to have intimacy or sex? And the answer?
No, you don't need to, because you are couples. You need to know each other. You need to understand the sex languages of each other, not what other people perceive as their sex language. You are supposed to bond as couple. You are not supposed to use the third party to teach you what to do and what not to do. What makes someone happy would not make you happy. What makes someone get orgasm will never make you get orgasm. So if you don't explore each other and you use the third party, which is the pornography, it will not get you anywhere. It rather gives you a perception that what they are doing is the right thing. Maybe you are also not getting excited with those things, and it steals your time. And they were asking of pornography. Pornography itself, it's either written, a picture, or a movie. So we have written what? Pornographies. So if it's written and you can read and get that arousement, it is pornography.
So I think if I understood him as a follow-up to his, what it means is that since we are trying to avoid or hammer on how pornography leads to abuse in partners who are engaged intimately. Now the question is, I'm married with my husband, all things being equal, we're raised in the church, two naive, ignorant people. You are saying, let's waddle in our naivety and figure it out on our own without any help. And because then again, I'm thinking about the pieces of advice I was given when getting married. Hey, look sharp, don't be doing this church things. Look for skill. Why am I going to look for the skills for? How do I upgrade my soul? In effect, you are saying pornography is a no-no. And so I should figure it out with my naive partner until both of us become pros at it. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
You see, whoever gets married goes through this counseling process before you marry. And in the counseling sessions, there are aspects of lifestyle that you're going to meet in the marriage. So we have the communication, we have the conflict resolution, we have roles and responsibilities, and we have sex. Sex is something that no counselor should take it away from counseling.
I didn't learn much.
Then you see that the problem, then that becomes a problem. You see,
Pardon me, let me maybe. So sometimes some things are personal. You know, honesty is the best policy. So for me, when I got married, I struggled a bit with sex. Some position, I didn't know my way around it. And then one day, my husband was like, nowadays you become a pro. Do you know how? I went to look for some pornographic materials. I saw how the ladies did it. I saw, okay, how I can. And then when I went back, he was impressed. So assuming there was no porn, how were you expecting me to figure out to be able to do it?
So you see, Christine says something. Does it affect you? Does it let you crave? Does it push you to do the undoable? Does it allow you to spend so much resource in chasing that material? Then you are addicted to the watching of porn. They are educational purposes, right? And I have 365.
Let's be together.
I have 365 sex styles that every blessed day in a year you can change a style. It is not porn. It is educative material that we need to teach married men and women. So if you have the chance that you enter into the counseling session with your counselor, premarital counseling. Young guys and ladies who are poised in getting married, don't ask a lot of questions during this counseling session because the date has been set already. But when you take your time through with your counselor, and when it gets to sex, because I know that sex is causing divorce, lack of sex in some marriages are causing divorce. So then what is sex? And the early counselors probably may not have so much to talk about sex. But that is, Karen, that's what is ruling marriage now. So in as much as you didn't get the chance to learn more about it, counselors are not, they have never finished. We have counselors in every hospital now. Go there, let's go there. Mommy, Papa, this is what I did. I went through counseling, but the sex aspect about it was, I am lacking. What should I do? He may guide you or she may guide you as to what to do so that it wouldn't get you to be addictive. Because all things we are saying now is that we don't want any of us to be addicted to porn. Because when you get into porn, it leads to masturbation. When your husband is not there, you...
So add the last question, which is on the spiritual aspect. One guy says he's not convinced from a spiritual perspective why we must not watch pornography.
You meet people who doesn't believe in God. I earlier on said that those who are not Christians will never see anything wrong when it comes to porn. But these are the questions you ask those people. Do you spend so much time? Does it delay your productivity in work? Does it cause harm to your family or your wife or your husband? If those questions are yes, you are even putting God away. But morally, the person will answer those questions rightly. Then you tell him that, oh fine, if I have never brought in Christ Jesus in this matter, scientifically it is wrong. It is killing us. Morally, what do you think? I mean, I don't see anything porn. But once you don't see anything porn, every 30 minutes, there's a new content that is created on porn. As we are watching, we spend more than 1 hour. So there are two different porn movies that have been produced every 30 minutes. Why? Because it takes money, it takes time, it takes all our senses just to put ourselves in watching this porn. The person might not be a Christian, but morally and scientifically and mentally, he or she may be affected. Then you ask all those questions my ladies asked. If this person is going through A, B, C, spending all money, sometimes there are people in offices, when they are supposed to work, because of porn, they leave, go to the washroom. I wouldn't mention, but there was this big office that one of the workers always go to the washroom. He hears noise. He wasn't sure who was there. And one day he tried to say, it's okay, let me wait. And not knowing the one who was making that noise is not a Kokwanan's story noise. It's a noise that deals with this sexual whatever sound. And that was the next to the CEO doing that in the washroom. It allows somebody to masturbate even when office time is due. Most married couples masturbate, and after sex with their wives, they still masturbate because porn had never their wives would never give them the excitement that porn gives them, and it affects their psychological well-being, their mental well-being, and it affects their relationship with their wives.
Okay, we'll take the next round of questions after the video, but Auntie Esther has a quick reaction.
Okay.
Then we watch the video and take the next.
What Pastor Elia said, he has 360 pictorials that can help you to enhance your sex life. Those pictures, when you see them, you don't get aroused. When you see those pictures, it's for educational purposes.
Yes.
So you don't even do what? Get aroused when you see them. But if the picture arouses you, then there is a problem. Those pictures, when you watch them as learning any ordinary thing. Coupled with what my brother was asking, that the person is not a Christian. So there is no feeling of shame or guilt. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian or not. Addiction comes with what? Feeling of what? Shame and guilt. You even see them doing it. You see a drunkard and you say, oh, wabo. And the drunkard will tell you, I'm not drunk. You catch the person smoking and the person tells you, I don't smoke. The feeling of guilt is there. The shame is there. You don't need to be a Christian. That one is what? Inborn. That's how God created us. You have those feelings. Just that every addict sees him or herself as having a moral deviation. So always it's at the defensive point. When you come, I'm ready to defend you. So when you say this, you give you another answer. But when you go in love, not to change the person, but trying to draw the person's attention with good languages,
Exactly.
not to make the person feel bad, the person will come to you. Then you can change the person.
Auntie Christine, quickly, and then.
So the word of God commands us to sow into our spirits. And those who sow into the flesh will reap nastiness. And so whatever you put inside of you, you are going to reap it. And you're a spiritual being. It doesn't matter if you think you don't believe or not. But that is what will happen. And you have no control over it. And I want to touch on a little about couples going to look for styles in pornography. Okay, so I want to impress my husband, so I click. And then I watched one style. And I came to do his impress. Then what?
Thank you,
Okay, so then you can't be doing the same style every day. So you need to go back and check for another style. And then you come and perform and he's excited. And then what? And then that is how it continues. So let's be careful.
Control room, are we ready? And then we'll take our next set of questions after control room plays our video for us. So let's watch Nate's story.
I told myself that it wasn't all that bad. Boy, was I wrong. There I am, everybody's best friend. Beautiful wife, 3 kids. I told myself that it wasn't all that bad. Boy, was I wrong. There I am, everybody's best friend, beautiful wife, 3 kids. From the outside, it looked good. except for the secret part that nobody knew about. One that carried, in my mind, no risk. Pornography hooked me deep. I knew I would be back. Whatever risk I would have to take, whatever price I would have to pay, I would be back. Porn took me places I never thought I would go. It groomed me, trained me, set me up. So I'm just driving along and I see this girl. I pull over to offer her a ride and she propositioned me. And suddenly I'm picking up my first prostitute on my way to a Christmas Eve service. I'd been hiding my porn use for a long time and thought I could hide it forever. And then one night, my wife caught me. I vowed again, I promised once again to stop, and I explained and I begged, and she forgave me. But when, a few weeks later, she found that condom on the floor in the bathroom that I couldn't quite explain, she finally said the words that she needed to say and the words that saved my life. She said, "I'm done." She said, "I still love you, but I don't like you. I don't trust you. I don't respect you. And I don't think you can ever change." That was it for me. That was my wake-up call from fantasy and infidelity. It hurt to hear my wife say she didn't like me anymore. It was as though there was a part of me that died. I'd reached the point where I actually believed that I had become an unlovable person. It was that moment that I finally became willing to do something I'd never been willing to do before. Come clean. And not just with her, but with somebody else, and with God. I had to surrender to a Christian recovery program. They made me understand that I could only experience healing to the depth that I'm willing to confess and repent. I dreaded it at the beginning, but I confessed everything. I had to leave my isolated world behind. I wanted a private solution to my private problem. And he loved me too much to give it to me. The intimacy I was always looking for, I couldn't find until I was willing to bring my real self into the relationship with God. My wife and I are closer than we've ever been. She didn't tell me until just a few years ago that every night after I fell asleep, she would put her hand on my chest and pray for me, that God would make me into the man that I was supposed to be. I know God heard those prayers. If you will just bring your real self and walk openly with other people, you can experience true intimacy with God and others.
Recover. But let's take our next set of questions. I saw a couple of hands here, and then we'll come back to our panel on practical steps we can take to recover. So I said here, so let me start off with please high enough so I can give you a number. So I'm doing a number 1, a number 2. Is there any other hand there? So a number 3. My guy in yellow, you've talked already, so I'll come back to you in a bit. I see you at the back, number 4, and then I see you, number 5. Let's take the 5. Let's be snappy.
Hello. I want
to look at it from a spiritual angle. When I was young, I loved to read. In fact, I'm somebody who is an avid reader. And what hooked me into reading was Harlequins, Mills and Boons, and all those story books. And believe me, I read extensively on them. And one thing you realize about them is that sometimes the writings, the sex scenes, can get into your mind. So I was very happy when you said that sometimes pornography can be written, it can be from seeing, from the senses. The devil, we are fighting a spiritual war, and the devil will use whatever interests you to get to you. It might be your sight, it might be your tongue, it might be whatever, hearing, whatever. The devil will use it to get to you. So that is the war we are fighting.
Thank you, Mommy. Number 2. Number 3, be approaching, so there is no time in between.
Good afternoon, everyone. Couple watching pornography. I think I would just want to say that when God created marriage and sex, He did not mean for anyone to be peeping to people doing it. So if you are a couple and you are watching it together, it's like 2 people are doing it and you are peeping on them. So just as you don't want anybody to be watching when you are doing it, please do not watch anybody doing it for whatever reason. And on the issue of pastors giving counseling on sex during premarital counseling, no 2 people's sex lives are the same. It's because I am married to a particular man, that is why our sex life is the way it is. If I'm married to somebody else, it may be different. So a pastor cannot really tell you how sex is because he does it with his wife. If you are having premarital counseling and you think that what the pastor has given you is not enough, in the presence of whoever you are getting married to, there are Christian counselors who can help you. Because the thing is that sex is supposed to be between 2 people who are supposed to explore together as much as they can. Whether you are naive or green or whatever, the person you are married to is the only person you can do it with. You are supposed to communicate that with the person. So let no one try to make us feel that you need to know something before you get there. When you get there, you will know. But if you want to know, there are people who can give you an idea of what it is. But you need to be careful. Because pornography is powerful and it is strong. Now, the first time I happened to see porn was when I was in JHS. Apparently, my cousins had been watching it. So one day I was just cleaning the room and I lifted the bag and this was it. I said, hey! And I just put the bag down. Up to now, I don't know who owned it or who used it, but I'm sure whoever was using it knows himself. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
So I just want to thank the organizers of this program. I have a question, but before then, I was just looking at a survey conducted by Road to Grace. It's a UK-based Christian organization. And I realized that they said Pornhub, I think, is one of the sites for pornographic material. Just 2018 alone, the number of people that visited that site is 30.3 billion. And I'm just thinking about the world population, we are just a little over 7 billion. So it means when they should share it, it's like each one of us has visited the site like 4 to 5 times.
Exactly.
And just during this lockdown, they said in UK alone, the Pornhub has an increase of 26.9%.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm wondering, well, the question is this. We are in a church where we speak explicitly on against fornication. I'm a young guy. You know, when you get to a certain stage, your sexual drive is high. And the church talks about fornication, sex before marriage is a sin, and all those stuff. I want to ask, am I not in a better position enjoying my porn somewhere rather than going to sleep with somebody's daughter to commit fornication?
Thank you very much for that. Question 4, number 4. Number 5, please approach because we have to go through how we can recover. Number 4 and 5.
Okay, thank you very much, and we are learning from you. And if there's one thing I'll take, even though we haven't finished, is the point my sister raised, that pornography is getting one thing and losing everything. And anything that is imbalanced, for sure you know it is not good. So I want us to keep it at the back of our mind. And also to what Phoebe just said, I'm a professional counselor, and a colleague said, who teaches the child how to suck? Out of the womb, who teaches the child?
No.
So in sex,
Exactly.
you will find your level if you and your
Exactly.
partner agree to work together
Exactly.
like they are saying. Because if we are not careful, you will be drawn into areas that you have never thought of. So please, let's explore with our husbands and wives, and let us not be ashamed. Let us break off from that socialization that we don't need to talk about sex.
Sure.
Let the woman know what a size said. Let your husband also know what you want him to do to you. You see, those exploration will get you the feeling that you desire. Because from what we are saying, otherwise your spouse will become an object, which is not good. And I think that I'm an example of 40 years exploration. I know nothing than what I have known. So it is what will. And we had a very good sex life. That's why I don't tell. So I bet you it's not reading and going to places. That is ahead. Then I think Pastor on the first round ended on a point that I wanted to talk about. Tying of hands. These people are mentally ill. We call them sadists. Yeah, we call them sadists in psychology.
Yeah,
they are
exactly,
sadists.
exactly,
You can read about it. So my brethren, please, don't be a sadist. They derive satisfaction and pleasure when they inflict pain on others.
Exactly.
So don't subject yourself to these things.
Thank you so much, man.
Number 4 and 5, and then we'll come back to our panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question, I think, should have come in the first round of questions, but it is to Christine. She kept mentioning neurotransmitters and the release of endorphins and dopamine and the rest. So I'd like to ask, is the situation same as when married couples are also getting intimate? Do we have that release of such hormones, or it only happens when someone is watching pornography? Because if it happens in marriage also, then I don't see enough justification how you're saying this is going to clog your brain or it's going to damage your brain. Because if you're going to get this same excitement or release of hormones whereas you're being intimate with your married partner, then how come when you get the same watching pornography, that one is bad, is going to make your brain cells die?
Thank you. So, Christine, to you specifically, last person.
Good afternoon, everyone. There's quite a lot of young people here, but my question is, not everybody has the courage to go on, say, Pornhub to look at pornography or people having sex, but on social media, there's a proliferation of, I'll not say explicit, but implicit videos, like people's music videos.
I want to hear what you're saying, so... No, don't remove that. Go, stand still and speak.
So I was saying that not everybody has the courage to go on Pornhub and look at people having sex, but you see on social media there's a proliferation of people's music videos where the women are indecently dressed. Since that is not people having sex, is it necessarily bad? Because it's something that I would confess in school, it used to be very popular among the boys especially. So I want to know, is it really bad, or because people are not actually having sex, then we can watch that? Thank you so much.
So we'll start off with our last question. Is it bad? I'm watching videos with nude women. I'm just getting excited. What's so bad about it?
Yeah, it's bad because that is the beginning of everything. You start watching, and you would like to watch to know what next, and that is how it happens in the mind. The eyes first sees it. That's why I quoted 2 Samuel 11. David saw it. The eye sees, but he wanted to know what is in her. So he invited the lady.
So that will lead us to the other question. And that brings me to my young self when I was younger.
Okay.
Hey, we shouldn't have sex. We are not fornicating. We will have sexual feelings. So what should we do with the feelings? Ignore them. A little pornography, you watch it. So the guy says, well, I'm not fornicating. A little pornography. Maybe I'm not doing it too much. Every once in a while. I'm checking out WhatsApp. I mean, so if I'm not supposed to not watch music videos, not watch pornography, not fornicate, and yet God has given me sexual feelings, what do I do with them?
So,
Suggest alternatives.
It's very clear. We are human. We have stages in life. Adolescent, there's a change in our system. Definitely. You feel that way at a point in time. Ovulation period, and every woman will feel that way. Then I ask myself, if your husband is traveled for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and ovulation time you are feeling that honey, will you give it to someone else? What are you going to do? You're going to stay because it is not for anybody, it's for your husband. In as much as I'm a young lady growing up, having that change, that feeling, if I should give it out to everybody, they will have it, but they can't pay for that. Or they will pay and give me a chicken change price. It is to me alone. That's why we need to educate our people, our church members, our young adults about the changes in humans' life. So when my sister or little girl going to SHS, knowing or feeling that way, it wouldn't be as a result of something bad. It is part of us. We should endure. And the endurance goes a long way in talking to someone who, after talking to them, that thing will just go off. So whoever is addicted to any drug, when they have someone they speak to, mind you me, when the craving comes and they pick a call and talk to the person after talking to them, they would confess and tell you that, I'm fine. So, yes, we might be growing up. There are a lot of changes in system. But when we hold on to those changes, we might be sinning rough like that because then it is part of us. So let's be careful about what he said. And also, we shouldn't go further, as he's saying that. Why is it that it is common among the boys in school? Why will boys watch girls' video? What at all? Do you know what? It's somebody's pocket. So when they were watching it, somebody has pocketed already because he can't stand straight. Why wouldn't he stand straight? He will pocket and calm things down. You might not know what is going through somebody. So please, it is not right for us to watch those things. No, it's not right.
Now, Auntie Christine has specific questions. Do we release those same chemicals when doing the real deal?
Yes. So for every activity that is rewarding, you get dopamine released. And God puts it there for a reason. It's supposed to motivate us to do better, to do more. But it's the same way God gave us legs to walk and run and jump. But if you jumped from this building to the ground, I don't think your legs will be the same. If you walk from here to Tamale, I don't think your legs will be, although the purpose of your leg is to walk. In the same token, your eyes is to see. And if you look at the sun continuously, I don't think it will be the same. It's the same as the reward system God specially put in your brain to serve you till you die. So in the same way, so if you are watching pornography, these are materials that is causing you to release more dopamine in short intervals because you are addicted. So you keep going back. And as you keep doing that, you are stressing the brain. You are destroying dopamine receptors. So yes, you are going to have the effects. But if you wait in the last time you are married and your husband is making you excited and all, I think comparing the frequencies of being addicted and being exposed to pornographic materials and with your husband, we can see the difference. So it's not, although you're releasing the same dopamine, but it's not in the same situation. In one case, you are overusing what God puts in you.
That's all.
And in another case, it's following its natural course. I hope it's clear enough. Still not clear.
Oh, I think if I get you well, then it means that you get the same feeling, except that when you watch pornography, that's a bit unnatural. It's in excess, unrealistic. It tampers with every other thing. Now, for me, I want us to move on to the process to recovery. Now, I may be a casual user. I may be addicted. I am getting addicted. And we've seen all the bad sides of pornography. And to be honest, when I got this topic to discuss, I was very excited because it's personal to me. I have seen what it can do, the journey to recovery. And so I want us to go through quickly. If I'm addicted or I'm getting addicted, how do I recover?
So addiction start with a try stage. Let me try. You try, it becomes part of you. Trying, then it gets into you, and after getting into you, it becomes a behavior. When it becomes a behavior, you try to shun away from people because it's a behavior now. And after it's becoming a behavior, then you will be dependent on that thing. Without that, you can't do anything. So somebody start watching porn day one, once a month, once in 6 months. Then it start to reduce to once in a month, twice, thrice. Then in a day, someone will tell you that he can watch porn about 6 hours in a row. And whoever watches porn, the next thing is masturbate. They will tell you.
So how do I recover?
So recovering,
Practical
one,
steps.
is to accept that what I'm doing is wrong.
Accept that you have
yes,
a problem.
Yes.
Processes. So we'll come to you. We have one of our panelists on Zoom. He is one person who has gone through pornography addiction and he has recovered. So after our panelists take us quickly through the steps, we would also like to hear your side of the story. He's remaining anonymous for good purposes.
Exactly.
So after Auntie Esther speaks, I would like to hear from you the practical steps you took in order to be able to recover from your addiction.
Okay, so what I would say is that addiction, just like all other bad behaviors, thrive in secrecy. The more you keep it a secret, the more it thrives, and the harder it becomes for you to recover. What we do is to advocate, to let people see that. To the psychologist, addiction is a brain disease. And it's not as society depicts it, as a person who does not have a will like you. So if you're addicted to a behavior, it means you're not able to control your will to do things. Like you have failed morally, a moral failure, sort of. Nobody chooses to be addicted. So first, if you believe, like we've mentioned, some of the things that will make you realize that you are addicted to a behavior. That is, if you've lost control over its use, if it's causing you strain in your family, yet you're unable to stop. You want to stop, but you're not. The first thing is to come out of the darkness. Come into light. Speak to somebody you can trust. That, for me, is at first. And then, like Pastor said, acceptance that you have a problem. Until you accept that you have a problem, nobody is able to, because that's how the brain works. Yeah, thank you.
That's yes. Process of recovery. So you have to acknowledge you have a problem. You have to accept, because it thrives in secrecy, you have to open up, confide in a person you trust. Meaning we must not judge people so they are open enough to admit when they have an addiction.
We also say recovery is losing just one thing and gaining everything.
Beautiful.
Because in your addiction, you lose everybody. Your work, your school, your family, yourself. You lose it. So if you picture it that I'm just losing one thing which is not helping me and gaining everything, it makes it easier for you. Then we also say, one too many, 1,000 never enough. One is too many, but 1,000 is what? Never enough. That is from the preventive aspect. Don't even do what? Start. One is too many, 1,000 never enough. And as she said, addiction dwells in secrecy. Reveal it and free yourself. Trust people and talk to them. Trusted people. We are lucky we have pastors, we have elders. But we pray that when they come to you, don't be judgmental.
No stigma.
My panelists on Zoom, now can I hear you on practically how you were able to break off your addiction.
Thank you for this opportunity for me to at least share my experience to help my friends who are also going through this situation to also come out of it. Yeah, so to start, I think the one thing is good in the beginning, as they said, you need to recognize the situation that you are in. Because until you recognize that, yes, where I am, I don't want to be, I am not supposed to be here, you are far from coming out from this situation. And then also, there's the need for you not to rely on yourself. Because you may try from your strength several times to get out of it, but I bet you it won't work. Yes. If you rely on yourself to come out of it, you may try several times and it won't work. And as it doesn't work, you get frustrated and you think, no, I can't come out of it.
Okay, so I think I'm getting the echo. While we work on fixing this to be able to hear from our friend on Zoom, I'll take the last set of questions and reactions, and I'll specifically wanted to focus more on how we can recover. But if you have any concerns from the previous discussions, you may bring them up. So let me see by hand. The final set. Very high. So now I see you, number 1. I see my guy in yellow, number 2. The one behind him, number 3. Is there a hand at the back? Number 4. I see you, my guy, number 5. And I see my lady, number 6. And that'll be it. So let's come around. Number 1.
Okay, so the topic for this afternoon's discussion is dangerous kissing cousins, right? Yeah, but I don't think in our discussion I've heard anyone talk about maybe close relatives or trusted people who, okay, for me, when I saw the topic, I thought we'd also discuss about how some people are IS. We have kids or our sisters or our younger brethren who are abused by trusted people. So in such situation, what are they supposed to do? Who do they confide in? And especially as trust is lost, because the people that they trusted them are those that are going to abuse them. How do you deal with this situation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 2.
My question is, can we also admit that women today in our society, the way you women dress by exposing your body, your breast, has also influenced the youth or, the men, by going to watch pornography, electronically. Because today in church, women dress, by some people even, in public. So I would define that as a traditional pornography. You understand? So we need to tackle this, very well before, moving to this electronic one.
Thank you very much. Number 3.
Good evening to us all. Okay, so my question is, there are students, okay, who have this pornography addiction. And like we've been told or we've heard this evening, that you should come out and then speak up. Here's a case, I go to my school's counseling session, or I go to my dean of student, confide in that person, whoever it is, and tell the person, this is the problem I'm facing, because I realize it's affecting my grades in school. And later, before I know it, my story is everywhere. Do you think that would encourage someone else facing the same trouble to come out? Because I have several friends who are going through that. They are unwilling to get help because others went to seek for help, and then things ended up escalating. So with that, how do we go about that one?
Thank you very much, my lady. Number 4. 5 and 6, please come around.
I think just to add, I think we were talking about the prevention aspect, but also to encourage most of us here. I mean, I think earlier on I was saying that do some research because I mean when we're on campus, I would say that almost 90% of all the boys, including myself, everybody comes, they come with an assignment, and then on an external drive, it is there. Pen drive, it is there. Everywhere you find yourself is there. The exposure rate of pornography is very high. Today we have tablets and all that. Sometimes you are just doing something and it pops up as an advert. And we have children who carry our tablets, our phones, and then they pick these things up. So I want to encourage, there are safe search options on the Google, browsers that you use. Use those things, research into those things. There are filters that you can use. That even if you want to use a proxy is when maybe you have a child who's addicted to pornography and can use this proxy website to actually bypass the filter. And then they would use the pornography. There are a lot of things that you can use. Let's have some of these things at home because don't think just saying that don't watch it is enough. It's so easy. I mean, today, even if you want to download a movie, you just go there and then it just pops up as an advert, and then your child can just see it, and that's it. So I'll plead. There are so many ways we can look at it and use it to prevent. And then lastly, just wanted to add that I think from our research, one thing we realized was that pornography is sex entertainment. It's not sex education. That's the difference. You can't weigh the two and say that, oh, I'm using it for educational purposes. We've watched videos, just similar videos like this of people who started watching it together and then one person got addicted and then they got divorced. So it doesn't mean that the fact that you are watching it and even the process of filming it is so different. Some of it are so unrealistic that no woman or man can match what you see. So if you go in there as they said with that kind of expectations, I mean it defeats the purpose, and then you end up finding yourself in that mess. So that's more contribution I want to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm one of the ones who was addicted, and I want everyone to also maybe listen to me and learn something from it. It started somehow with being at home, sometimes also with friends, meaning the late hours, especially in Germany where I'm coming from, they show these romantic videos and then you watch here and there. You see your father watching, so you also join, and then sometimes they sleep and then you yourself went in the room watching further while they are sleeping. It started with that, and somehow, somewhere, it started also with music. For those of us who say music doesn't have any effect, I want to tell you it has a big effect, because you see the half-naked girls, and nowadays it's even worse, they are even full naked, and there's no limit. And to be honest, it went that far that when I was studying, I said, wow, hey, it's not anymore Beyonce, it's not anymore Foxy Brown CDs. Hey, come, let me just go to Google and just put pornography. I'm not saying do that now, I'm saying what I did, to have as much as possible material. And to be honest, when you move further, you realize, even when you move into any relationship, for those of us who say, oh, I'm watching with my couple, oh, because we are married and so on, don't deceive yourself. I'm telling you, you're deceiving yourself, because that moment you are having the act with your couple, you picture the woman from the video, from the movie. It's not the woman, your wife, you are sleeping with. You sleep with that person. And it went that far that I could even see that I have a spiritual wife. That is serious. And if you say, oh, I'm watching things and I have the same emotional things like when I'm sleeping with my husband, be careful. Don't deceive yourself. These things are serious. They go beyond as we are thinking. And me acknowledging oh, every time I move into a relationship, not just because of pornography, but it doesn't go further. Sometimes everything blocks. Wherever I go, whatever I started, then you should know you have a problem. And if this thing is not solved with God, it's not solved with prayers and fasting, it's not solved with going on your knees, I'm telling you, you may think you are empowering your marriage, you may think you are empowering your relationship with specific style, these styles and so on and so on. But it's just a deception, a big deception. And for me to be free and standing in front of you today, I just thank God for that, for him to make me a changeable person, a person who is willing to change and say, no, if I have a pornography issue, I'm not watching anymore this worldly, half-naked, full-naked, rubbish things, sorry to say. I'm not listening to those things anymore. We used to do even phone pornography. Yeah. We used to invite friends. We sit there, 4, 5 boys, and we watch the thing together. Each one makes this. Come on, we deceive ourselves. I just want to tell you, this topic is deeper than we think. And if you think you can just act, because that is what God built in the Garden of Eden, marriage. When he saw the woman, he said, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Don't take it for granted going out there and think, oh, I've watched something so I can do with anyone anyhow. Okay? I know I have spoken too long.
So how many years were you addicted to porn?
It took very long. And also, just for you to know, sometimes per day, yeah, just because of one specific scene of pornography, I would even masturbate more than 10 times.
Okay. Then we understand.
And that is serious. And I'm telling you,
yeah,
and this endorphin or whatever you develop, I'm telling you, it's just there for you to have this height. But when you reach the height and it's gone, you feel so ashamed, and don't be deceived.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much.
Last.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank our brothers so much for coming out openly. It's not easy for people who have been there before to share what they've gone through openly like this. So we need to really applaud him for what he just shared with us. That's very bold of you, brother. And I wanted to highlight on a few things he mentioned, not as somebody who have experienced it, but somebody who have heard friends talk about how far it's taken them and how it destroys marriages. Because as young ones, once you get exposed to these things, and most young men now, excuse me to say, want to practice sex before marriage. And once you get so used to that, when you get married, you are doomed. Most marriages are not thriving because of this. When you go to the courts, they will tell you that divorces is 1 year marriage, 6 months, 5 years, they are in court asking for divorce. Sometimes because of these differences, because one person is hyper than the other in sex. One person has experienced too many things, is expecting the other person to indulge in, and she can't do it. Or he can, because it's both ways. Some women also get addicted to masturbation is not just for men. There are women who use toys. They use dildos. They say that they are so addicted, they carry it to offices and all that. And they can't stay without it. They can't stay without it. So it's both ways. And I want to plead with you, the young ones, stay away from these things because it destroys you. It destroys your marriage. There are men who get married not just to cover up, just to, protect their reputation. But they are not really into the marriage. Because what they've experienced before the marriage, the partner cannot meet them. Some are going through the anus of women when they're not supposed to, destroying them. There are men and women walking around wearing diapers because they are leaking out of these acts. And I want to plead with you as young people. As our brother said, these things goes very, very long and very deep. It destroys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we had a couple of questions. You address them quickly, and then we can conclude on our discussion. Now with my lady's question about kissing cousins. So people who have been abused sexually while they are young, for those people, how do they recover? How do they learn to build trust again?
So what I can say in connection with the lady who just said that confidentiality, went to see a counselor, and by the time they realized their issues are out there. You see, what we are trying to do today is that the guy who spoke, the guy who was trying to speak, he was watching my program on Hope TV, and at 11, it was 12 midnight, I just had a message on my phone. Pastor, I have done it again. I don't know him anywhere. Then I was curious to know what is wrong. So the next day, I was still awake. Then I asked him, what did you do? He said, Pastor, I couldn't I control myself. I've done it. Then I realized where he was coming from. So the next day, we started chatting. What did you do? Pastor, for years now, I watch porn and I masturbate. And I want to stop watching this thing. Had not he coming out to speak about it, I can't talk about it because I have never sought permission from him. And as a counselor, what makes someone a good counselor is the counselor who still have that confidentiality at stake. Aside suicide, any other thing that somebody will bring to you to discuss with you needs to remain in you as a counselor. So the lady who just said that, how to get somebody to trust, I'm telling you today, there are better people who still holds on to people's confidentiality issues, and they are still helping those people to grow. Yes, I can. After that, I think that we can just share the contact, and that those people you can connect with me, and by the grace of God, they can stop, because it's an act that is shameful. Our brother just spoke. If our brother should have somebody earlier on talking to him on what he was doing, I'm not sure, because when you're about doing it, because you know somebody knows about it, it doesn't come in mind. I have series of people I'm still talking to them on this issue practically. And the first thing is, a pastor, they always say that go out there and play. It is not easy to go out anywhere and play, because that thing will happen at midnight. Why are you going to play at midnight? That thing will happen when you're alone. Why are you going to play when you're alone? So practically, I think that if those people don't make a crucial effort to say that, okay, I want to stop, Pastor, please, can you help me out? Whenever, they are the people when they can call me at any time, because I've given them the chance. I might not know if I should miss someone's call, what the person will do. There are counselors who are very good in trying to help the young adult overcome such situation, because getting into porn, as my mother, my lady friend said, a lot of guys are wearing pampers all over, because when you watch porn, it leads you to masturbate, and the girl gets into lesbianism, and the guys get into homosexuality. So the porn aspect we are talking about it is not something that we should joke with it. It's something that goes far. He said that it will take you there, and it will leave you in shame. Please, my younger ones, we are here to help you. We are here to help you walk through that thing. And we should stop stigmatizing people on the fact that they watch porn. It is wrong. The church should be very circumspect. Have a counselor, a psychologist who will deal with such issues. So that is what I can also say.
And Pastor, I'll take your reactions, but the one who says the women who dress indecently have accounted for, have caused an increase, or there is a correlation between that and pornography use, what do you have to say in response to that?
It is ambiguous, no? Culturally, there are people who, for instance, the white people, when it's summer, you know how they dress. When it's winter, they know how they dress. People live there to come here and just will be sleeping at our beach shore because they want to come and feel the weather. What at all happens to my eyes as a guy? If I should see this thing, it is how he or she has dressed. Let him be so. If I'm focused on what I need, I'm not sure a lady's tie will arouse me. But if you're a guy and a lady's tie arouse you, then you need help.
Don't watch, or the ladies
You need
let's
help.
be nice to the guys and cover up.
Not covering up per se, mommy. Not covering up per se. We are human. And for what we are saying, there's no way we will stop seeing these people on the street. But as human as we are, sometimes men of God will see this thing driving and they lose focus. They lose focus of driving. And why will you think that adverts, you use the advert first? Why would you, the adverts are being, we attach women into adverts we see on TV? The same way, because they want to get us distracted, they will let them wear things on the street, and they know that we men will be distracted. So let's close our eyes, have eyes from them, so that we use the right eye to drive or to walk away. It's just on a lighter note, but it is important that we should be very focused in everything we do. Yes.
So before we move to you, control room, please get ready to play Refuse to Click, and that will be our concluding video as we bring our discussion to a
Adding
close.
up to what Pastor says, what we usually tell our clients is that just because you have decided to stop smoking and stop drinking and stop doing any other thing that is addictive, that doesn't mean the manufacturing companies are going to stop manufacturing alcohol. Those selling the weed are going to stop. They are not going to stop. It will get to a time, opposite this church, there will be a drinking bar.
Yeah.
In your house, there will be a drinking bar. But you should be able to see the drinking bar and pass by. Nothing is going to stop. Everything is going to go on. But coming back to pornography, what I want to tell the young ones is that the devil is really overhyping sex.
Exactly.
It's being overhyped. It's not what you think. There is nothing in there. You get married and even 2 weeks, 3 weeks, everybody is tired. You've not decided not to have sex. Just that by the time everybody opens the eye, it's already 6:30 and you are all late. This is the reality on the ground. The social media, the world is now hyping sex. The devil is using sex in such a way that if you don't know how to do it, if you are not part, then it means you are colon. No, it's never true. If you meet clients suffering from it, you really realize what it is. Don't even do what? Enter. Don't start at all. They are all deception. They are all what? Deception. So let's shun away from that. Get stick to our Bible and our books and have focus so that at least we can avoid it. There is nothing outside there.
Thank you very much, Auntie Esther. Let me get your remarks, and then please be ready to play Refuse to Click for us as we conclude.
Okay, so I will touch a little on the childhood abuse and the abuse thing. I mean, abuse is a very broad topic on its own, and it would require like its own time to talk elaborately on it. Yeah. So I think perhaps if the organizers are listening, perhaps they would want to address that. And the second question was about psychologists and counselors putting people's issue out there. So for what I know as a clinical psychologist, what I know working with people is that's part of our ethics. As Pastor mentioned, confidentiality, anonymity, very key in the practice. So when you are in trouble and you feel you need to speak to somebody, you need to watch who you are talking to. Sure. There are certain times some of your friends or your seniors can even be more mature than some of your teachers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some young people have emotional intelligence. And sometimes you might not tell exactly everything, but you can give some part of the information to see if somebody can direct you or refer you to a person who can help you. It's not easy to come out to talk about these things. And so it can be very hurtful if somebody takes your issue out there, and it has accounted for some percentage of suicide issues we have seen. So in order to protect yourself, you have to really, really watch the kind of people you talk to. And it comes back to parenting. How we relate, we communicate with our children, our young children in high school especially. As they go out there, they are seeing a whole lot of things. The world is just coming at them. So it's very important to forge a relationship with our young adults so that we can engage them and find out some of the things they are battling with. Thank you.
Thank you. Control room, are we ready with Ready to Click? Great. Let's watch.
This is Anna. Wait, don't click to someone else yet because Anna's stuck here on your computer screen. And while you can walk away, her image is stuck on the internet. See, your fantasy is Anna's nightmare. There's a good chance recruiters lured her with flattery. Perhaps they baited her with cash. Maybe they even tranquilized her with date rape drugs. And if Anna's like many others, she stays sedated with alcohol, weed, or coke to numb the pain. Chances are she faces STDs and HIV because she's denied access to protection. We don't know what she's been through because we only see Anna smiling. And they keep showing Anna smiling so that you'll keep watching. See, pornography is integral to human trafficking and prostitution. In 9 countries, almost half, 49%, said that pornography was made of them while they were in prostitution. This generation fights sex trafficking more than anyone ever has, and more than anyone ever has, this generation consumes porn. Fighting human trafficking and then watching porn is like protesting a corrupt politician and then donating to his campaign. You browse privately going from Anna to Zoe and back to Anna. Watch your favorite fantasy and then walk away. But Anna's still there. She's stuck there, stuck in this life because you click. Each click, each link, each URL visit and play button, this is the currency of porn. This is the price of Anna's life. The $100 billion pornography industry is fueling the appetite for children as well. Teenage girls now make up the biggest slice of viewable porn, which by definition is considered trafficking. The demand for porn fuels the trafficking industry, and you can take away that demand. You can cut the cord on this machine. You can bankrupt the system. You can empty the pimp's pockets. You can free Anna by simply refusing to click. This is Anna. Wait, don't click to someone else yet because Anna's stuck here on your computer screen. And while you can walk away, her image is stuck on the internet. See, your fantasy is Anna's nightmare. There's a good chance recruiters lured her with flattery. Perhaps they baited her with cash. Maybe they even tranquilized her with date rape drugs. And if Anna's like many others, she stays sedated with alcohol, weed, or coke to numb the pain. Chances are she faces STDs and HIV because she's denied access to protection. We don't know what she's been through because we only see Anna smiling, and they keep showing Anna smiling so that you'll keep watching. See, pornography is integral to human trafficking and prostitution. In 9 countries, almost half, 49%, said that pornography was made of them while they were in prostitution. This generation fights sex trafficking more than anyone ever has, and more than anyone ever has, this generation consumes porn. Fighting human trafficking and then watching porn is like protesting a corrupt politician and then donating to his campaign. You browse privately going from Anna to Zoe and back to Anna. Watch your favorite fantasy and then walk away. But Anna's still there. She's stuck there, stuck in this life because you click. Each click, each link, each URL visit and play button, this is the currency of porn. This is the price of Anna's life. The $100 billion pornography industry is fueling the appetite for children as well. Teenage girls now make up the biggest slice of viewable porn, which by definition is considered trafficking. The demand for porn fuels the trafficking industry, and you can take away that demand. You can cut the cord on this machine. You can bankrupt the system. You can empty the pimp's pockets. You can free Anna by simply refusing to click.
Auntie S.D.A, God bless you. And for each one of you here and those of us who joined via Zoom, God bless each and every one of us. And so we have another such program. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. You deserve that round of applause. Thank you very much, our panelists, and in fact, our moderator for carrying out this program. We are so grateful for how far Lord has brought us. Before we end, I would like to have some soothing music as we think about what we've heard and how we intend to implement it in our various homes. And so, Evanam, please, if you're here, could you please come up front and give us a number? While she's on it, Heirs of the Kingdom also, you will prepare and then you give us a number, and then we would wrap it up finally.
Happy Sabbath. I'm only human. I'm just a woman. Help me believe what I could be and not what I am. Show me the stairway I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today. Show me the way, one day at a time. Do you remember when you walked among men? Well, Jesus, you know, if you're looking below, it's worse now than then. Cheating and stealing, violence and crime. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today. Show me the way, one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today. Show me the way, one day at a time. Lord, help me today. Show me the way, one day at a time. Lord, help me today. Show me the way, one day at a time.
We'll have a short presentation, And so I will call on Sister Esther Lavacono and Helen Body, I believe. Please come up front and assist us in the presentation.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Lord Almighty for making it possible for us to have this educative program this afternoon. And the next one is going to our panel and our moderator. We really appreciate your presence here today. I mean, for you to make time to be with us. I know how tight your schedules are and all that, and we're really touched. And we've really learned a lot from you today. We're so grateful. But to express that, we have something small for you that I want to present to you. Okay. So I would like you all to give yourselves a round of applause also for the time that you spent here with us. Thank you so much.
All right, and so before we have a vote of thanks, we will call on the heads of the kingdom to give us a number, if they are around, so that we pick that forward. So the person to assist us with the vote of thanks, please prepare. Right after this song, you are up.
Okay, then start off.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for life's sake became poor. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy,
altogether wonderful to me. I'll never know how much it cost to see my sins upon that cross. I'll never know how much it cost to see my sins upon that cross. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
Okay, so I would say I'm honored to be here to propose the vote of thanks to you. I would first and foremost like to say a very big thank you to God Almighty for giving us a good weather and most importantly, life for us to see this day and to even be present at this occasion. I would also like to say a very big thank you to Pastor and the panelists, the moderator, Hope TV, pastors and elders who made it possible to come here. And most especially, a very big thank you to the Adventist Women Ministry, Osu District, for putting together such a wonderful seminar. We've been blessed. And also to you watching us from home, we say thank you for making it a point to watch. And those of us here, we say thank you for making it a point to attend. May the Almighty God himself bless you all. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you very much. So all too soon, we are bringing the program to a close. Mrs. Parkins, I think I'm permitted to allow you to come and do the closing prayer for us. I know she understands because I was supposed to do it, but I'm giving her the honors to do to do the closing prayer for us.
Shall we pray? May we be upstanding, please. Most gracious and heavenly Father, Father of the Sabbath, we thank you very much for bringing this program to a successful end. We started it in your name, and by your grace, you've walked us through this program. Father, we've seen that porn is something that we should not even think of clicking. So, Father, it's our prayer that as we leave here this evening, this will ring in our minds. This will keep on clicking in our minds, that together we can all put an end to pornography and all its associate illness. Be with us as we leave your sight. Bless and keep watching over us, O Lord. Build a hedge of protection around us. Keep us safe from the pandemic. And by your grace, O Lord, bring us back here again next week. We thank you for being with us, and may your grace continue to abide with us always. Amen.
All right, and so we've ended our program. May the good Lord be with us as we journey.